If history is kind to Fugazi, their records won't be overshadowed by their reputation and methods of operation. Instead of being known for their community activism, $5 shows, $10 CD and resistance to mainstream outlets, they will instead be known for their intelligent songwriting and undeniably proficient musicianship, which drew from their roots in Washington, D.C. hardcore, as well as post-punk and dub reggae. Songs like Waiting Room and Suggestion, as well as albums such as Repeater and Red Medicine, are considered post-hardcore benchmarks. Drummer Brendan Canty, bassist Joe Lally, guitarists vocalists Ian MacKaye, and Guy Picciotto formed Fugazi in 1986. Initially a trio, Picciotto was added to the lineup after the band's first live shows. Prior to forming, the members already had deep roots in the DC punk scene. Dischord labelhead MacKaye, who had previously been in the Teen Idols and Minor Threat, had just come from Embrace. For better or worse, Embrace, along with Picciotto and Canty's better Rites of Spring, kick-started the emo subgenre that reached prominence years later. Fugazi's style has been described as post-hardcore, art punk, alternative rock and experimental rock. Fugazi's music was an intentional departure from that of the hardcore punk bands the members had played in previously. Fugazi combined punk with funk and reggae beats, irregular stop-start song structures and heavy riffs, inspired by popular rock bands such as Led Zeppelin and Queen, bands that the punk community of the time largely disdained. After further honing their cathartic live act and expanding their material, the band's first EP Fugazi was released in late 1988, more an extension of Rites of Spring's thick, dynamic, very tempo soul-bearing than anything else. The EP featured Suggestion, which became the group's most well-known song. Though the course of rock history shows that loud music created by angry men tends to be of a predatory nature, Suggestion was an anomaly. MacKaye spoke from a woman's point of view and railed against objectification. The similarly margin Walker followed the next year and was later coupled with Fugazi on CD as 13 songs. Repeater, the band's first proper album, was released in 1990, a toughened and refined progression. It's generally regarded as a classic. Steady Diet of Nothing, issued in 1991, was clearly the band's most challenging material to that point. 2 years passed until the arrival of In on the Killtaker, an abrasive set that registered on the Billboard 200 at number 153. While major labels were interested in signing the band and even linking with Dischord, a label that had lost jawbox to Atlantic and Shudder to Think to Epic, they were turned away. As the responsibilities of adulthood and outside musical involvements increased, Fugazi's recordings and tours became more sporadic. During the latter half of the 90s, both Red Medicine in 1995 and End Hits in 1998 were looser and more exploratory than the band's earliest recordings. Instrument in 1999, a documentary video directed by Jem Cohen was released with an accompanying soundtrack and included live performances and interviews. The soundtrack featured demos, jams and incidental cutting room scraps. Fugazi's sixth proper album, The Argument, was simultaneously issued with the three-song Furniture EP. Fugazi went on what it is called an indefinite hiatus after the conclusion of its 2002 UK tour following 3 sold-out nights at the London Forum on November 2002. The hiatus was brought on by the band members' insistence on spending more time with their families and pursuing other professional projects. Since Fugazi went on hiatus in 2003, rumors began circulating about a reunion, with some insinuating that the band may get back together to headline the Coachella Festival. While the band has confirmed that it has been offered large sums of money to reunite and headline festivals such as Coachella, it has so far declined the offers. In March 2011, MacKaye reiterated that Fugazi has been offered insane amounts of money to play reunions, but it's not going to be money that brings us back together. We would only play music together if we wanted to play music together and time allowed it. In November 2011, when asked by the AV Club about the possibility of a reunion and a follow-up to 2001's The Argument, Lally said, "The Argument was a great record that we should try and top. It'll take some time to come together and everything, To do that we'd have to, the way the four of us are, we would take quite some time, I think, reassociating ourselves musically, and then just letting it come about naturally, because it would have to be a natural thing, so we'll just see. In August 2014, Dischord announced an official release for First Demo, an album featuring 11 demo songs recorded in January 1988. The announcement included a preview of the demo for the Fugazi track merchandise. The album was released on November 2014. MacKaye insisted in a 2017 interview that Fugazi is not, in fact, broken up. While he admits any future public performance will have to contend with various confounding factors, the members have occasionally played music together privately since their 2003 hiatus. On March 2018, in an interview on Vish Khanna's Creative Control podcast, Lally confirmed the band's irregular practice of casual get-togethers. On February 2019, Loudersound asked Lally and Canty about the possibility of Fugazi returning. Lally responded, "You never want to say never about anything, because how can you say that about the future? But there does seem to be a lack of time to allow it to happen, because the four of us would have to spend a lot of time together to figure out, should we play old songs, who are we now, what is it now? We are not the kind of band to get together and just rehearse 2 hours of old songs to go out and play it, rake in the dough and come home." Canty added, "If we got back together, it would have to be from the spirit of creativity. It would be different if we got back together